Hello and welcome to Practical Balance. My name is Jennifer Westlake from Soululaire, and my co-host is Janice Whiting from Lifted Spirits. How you doing, Janice?
Fabulous. How are you doing? What's
I'm
up
doing.
in your world? What have you heard lately?
I am doing really good. Things have been crazy. I've been really, really busy, but things are good. Lots of interesting things happening in the world, and lots of people that are really struggling right now, Janice. People are having a hard time, and I'm really glad that we're doing the show because a lot of people need a lot of support and guidance right now. So I'm so glad that we're doing this today.
Good. Me too.
Great, great, great. So, first thing, I always like to talk about kind of current events and everything. And did you hear about President Biden getting like diagnosed with COVID like twice? And now he's being isolated again. So, I think that's kind of interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I actually think the isolation is related to other things. I do feel and have noticed that there is someone trying to push through government agencies the fact that he has become a little too um, senile, have dementia, that
Mhm.
much of what he says doesn't make sense. And a great way to keep him out of the limelight per se is that he has COVID, and then they just shut him down and keep him hidden per se. And so really that is his problem now, that
Yeah.
his when he talks to people, and it's the odd dynamics of his personality. It's very yin yang. He loves to chat with people and communicate, um, but the neurons aren't firing in the brain, and what he
Mhm.
says
Right.
doesn't make sense. And so, as a leader of one of the um, largest nation in
Mhm.
on the earth, it's looking a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this isolation kind of reminds me of, the campaign trail for the election in 2020, because we called him Basement Joe because he hardly did any campaigning. And this is probably the same reason why they did that back then.
Well, as everyone has noticed that you think back to Trump and before, whether it be Obama or Clinton, they were very visual speakers,
Mm-hmm.
um, addressing many issues and many days during the month. And and difficulty that they're having with Biden is that they don't want him in front of people, a large group of people, and in front of the camera
Mm-hmm.
nationwide.
Right.
He does get in front of the camera with smaller groups, and he even struggles with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so you'll notice he just does not do bigger events where
Mm-hmm.
he's in front of the White House or whatever, having a
Mm-hmm.
large discussion on events of the world. He,
Right.
they they'll ask him a little clip. There's a little clip. There's a little clip,
Mm-hmm.
and even those aren't making sense. Um, so they're coming up with ideas to keep him sequestered per se.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, do you think, I am thinking that they are trying to figure a way to get him out of office. What does Spirit have to say about the removal of him as president, and who is going to replace him? Because Kamala
But they
can't.
soon. It will be soon. I've heard from Spirit. They say soon. So
Uh,
they're sort of giving him, sadly, more and more opportunities. So here's what they say. First, they hid information to get him elected. and now they're revealing information to get him out of office. So the premise is, at least from what I've heard from Spirit at the moment, they do suspect it will be Kamala who takes his place temporarily. I haven't heard yet that it will be somebody else, even though many people do say they think it will be a variety of people, Trump or a variety of people. But it is in the works to scoot him out, and his party is aware of it. They're supportive of it. They're just going to let that ride as long as they can let that ride, with the American people not being too upset that they realize they have a president who doesn't have all his wits about him.
Right. Well, I think that there's going to be a complete uproar if Kamala replaces him. First of all, she has proven herself to be absolutely incompetent as vice president. And secondly, according to the Constitution, she is not eligible to be president because she was not born here in the United States. You have to be a natural born citizen to be president according to the rules outlined by our Constitution. So
that's what they said about Obama.
Yep, I know. I was just going to say the same thing, so he's from Kenya.
Patronizing the game of Earth. People try whatever. They try whatever. I mean, I could see Americans being so stupid that they would. And the fact that they wanted a woman, so they'll probably overlook everything to have.
Probably.
But also, she's just another front. She's just another front for people higher up that are really in charge of not only the United States, but the world. I remember once chatting with Spirit, and they said, the leaders of all the countries they interact and they co-create with each other, meaning they're negotiating things. And they said it reminded them of wrestling. It's called WW something.
WWF, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not into wrestling.
I know, me either. But they'll get in the ring and they'll pretend like they're having this big conflict, and then behind the scenes, when they go to the dressing room, then they just laugh and shake their hands and change their clothes and go out to eat together. And so really, it was just a show anyway, which is, so I have heard Spirit many times say all the governments negotiating together are just like World Wrestling, which I don't watch, but I've
so when is this? When does? Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but you mentioned that like we're just kind of watching a show, like wrestling. When is this show going to be over, and when are we going to, be free from this catastrophe that they're making our country into?
Well, I know a couple of things they've mentioned. Number one is we look at they think humans do, just look at the little picture, where they obviously run the universe, and they look at the bigger picture. So there's like the higher view and the yin yang micro view, micro view. Spirit always makes their decisions based on the macro, and then humans, often patronizing the game of Earth, only see it the micro. Spirit liken it to a large, like one time I bought a huge cheesecake at Sam's Club, a huge cheesecake, and each cheese slice was a different slice, though they were all good. But here, that's exactly what Spirit thinks, that the big picture was all cheesecake. The micro was that each slice was different. So each chapter of the game of Earth is different, and humans only get caught up in whatever slice they're eating. That's the mentalness of most humans. Week to week, paycheck to paycheck, driving situation by driving situation, humans are just, they survive by focusing on the slice that they're in. And spirit's okay with that, because at some time humans' cognitiveness will change,
Mhm,
but that's the way. So they want humans to realize that the big synchronicity of everything is
mhm,
ran by the universe, and
mhm,
the synchronicities happen in any given slice of the cheesecake that they might be eating. But
mhm,
yes, so humans notice the events, but not the big picture of what's caused it.
mhm.
Make, but I do suspect, I'm going to say that I believe Biden will be out of office in 6 months to less. It's and then we'll really chat about where spirit thinks the world is going. But
Right.
um, but no, if that happens, there was no dirty deeds to make it happen, I doubt. It would be the universe supporting that event happen, and then
Mhm.
just allowing events to happen to actualize it.
Right.
So, um, so
You know,
I know it's not long.
a lot of people um, are are waking up and they realize that they have been living in only one slice of the cheesecake, and that they've been trapped on this hamster wheel of wake, work, repeat for many years, and they feel like that has been created by design. And I have to agree with that. It has been created by design. And so, um, how do you feel, or what recommendations does spirit have for the everyday person who is waking up, who is raising um, their consciousness to kind of break free from this show? Many people are
To
like
get off
not
the
wanting
wheel.
to wait 6 months for this show to be over.
Well, it takes as long as it takes. Just like there are some women who are pregnant for 9 months, and I guarantee when you talk to the woman in the ninth month, she can't wait for that show to be over.
Right.
And that is the truth. Plus, plus also in the snapshot of the moment, and that's something I've heard Spirit always talk about. Each slice of cheesecake has its own snapshot of the moment, how it affects your life, what catastrophe or maybe Spirit happened to have caused on this earth in that slice of cheesecake. And so I know that they think that humans get caught up in the snapshot of the moment and they think it will never change. But
Mm-hmm.
when you pull yourself out and look at events of history, obviously they change. We've had the Holocaust, the Civil War, the many, many transformational events,
Mm-hmm.
and so nothing stays the same forever. But humans do become either impatient or they just think um, this snapshot will be the way it is forever.
Right.
No, all humans know that, and so spirit knows human nature. And one of the things they would like humans to do is stop making decisions based on what others have told you. Make go Those who are waking up, when they go within, are going to have a different level of knowingness. Um, they're not going to probably want to think, should I or shouldn't I? They'll might go within and think, do I want to? Do I not? Do I like it? Do I not? Who am I? What do I truly on my soul and core level think? That is the dynamics of someone waking up. Um, the humans not waking up, they still are believing whatever they were told based on whatever slice of the cheesecake that they were born in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people in their 70s and 80s, they have a different mindset than um, 50s and 60s have a different mindset often than the 30s and 40s. Which is why parents didn't want there was not long ago, parents didn't want their kids to grow long hair or boys to pierce their ears. And now look at the tattoos and the piercings that people feel are authentic expressions of themselves in a different color hair. So those humans that are waking up and wanting to express the most authentic expression of themselves, they're probably in meditation and in the assessment of the self. They're going to start to lean to, do I want to, do I not, do I like it, do I not, what do I really believe? And so they're probably not going to,
Yeah.
they're willing to let go of the old paradigms of mental thought.
Yeah. I've been observing a lot lately. There are a lot of influencers out there in the world now vying for people's attention, and a lot of people are, following different people without taking a moment to stop and go within and run that information through them. Like, do I believe this is true? Does this feel true to me? Does this sound right? Is this a path I really want to go down? And so I just kind of recommend for people to just stop for a moment and really think about who you're listening to, what they're saying, and go within and query yourself about, uh, do I want to do this? Do I believe this? Does this feel true to me? And just kind of follow um, the intuition that arises from within your own being and from within your own heart. So, what suggestions do you have for people nowadays on picking and choosing the different kinds of information out there? Because we're in an information war.
True. I've heard spirits say they do have a few. I always call them rules, but that's patronizing my humanness. One of their rules is speak your truth kindly. Second rule is follow your heart, and third rule, one of their rules is be in and enjoy the moment. And I have heard them say that if we humans master that, they will live a simply lovely life, and then spirit will take care of the rest of the stuff going on around them and behind them. So I've heard that. Plus, I have heard a few rules from spirit. Another one um, is what you're doing defining others or victimizing others? And so that seems to be a difficult thing for the influencers because they would love to. I've even heard spirit talk about parenting, and they say to teach your children to respect property, not to victimize others, and not to define others. And so that's another 3 rules from spirit
Right,
that they love to share. But those are so simple, but just simple is not always easy to actualize. I mean,
right.
it's hard for humans not to define others. Parents do that to their children.
Hmm.
Bosses do that to their employees. I mean, wardrobe wise or whatever, humans just think it's fine to define others, and spirit feels it's not. But luckily, humans are waking up to that because you can see all of the personal choices humans have made about they choose their gender. There's even a documentary I watched where this woman said she was gender fluid. And I say, why can't people just embrace that and let her be how she is? Why do they give everyone such a hard time when they're trying to break through barriers? Even that was she's a lovely lady that wants to define herself how she wants and wants the world to get off her back and stop trying to victimize her. And really, I can't imagine why humans wouldn't just say, okay, do what you want. How about you do what makes you happy, and I'll do what makes me happy. And we'll just
Right.
live on this fun, crazy earth together. No, humans don't seem to be able to do that.
Yeah.
They think gender preference, or they think marriage, gender preference identification should be defined by the government, and that should be your personal choice. Let people make their own personal choices as
Yeah.
long as they are not defining others and victimizing others.
Right, right. I
Let them
do.
be free. Let them be happy. Let them express themselves. So
Right,
that is an odd step for humans to
right.
have to learn to master now, to let go of their
Mhm.
own agenda for others.
Right, right. And there are so many people that have agendas for other people. You know, um, parents have agendas for their children. You know, teachers have agendas for their students. Religious leaders have agendas for their congregations. And
Children
so,
have agenda for their parents.
yeah, exactly. You
Husbands
know,
have agenda for their wives.
exactly. So, you know, I think one of the things that we get to be aware of is our purpose is to learn how to get to know ourselves and define ourselves and take ourselves out of a victim mindset and take ourselves out of victimizing or situations. Because a lot of times when I'm coaching someone, um, my clients' own thoughts can victimize them, their own self talk can keep them down. And so it's important, I feel, for people to stop focusing on other people and start working on yourself, healing yourself, getting to know yourself, becoming your own best friend, and loving yourself. So,
That is the recipe for mastering the game of Earth spiritually. And as you and I know, well, it's fairly easy for me because that's what I like. I don't define others. I don't boss others. I don't. They can do it how they want, and um, and I just want them to make themselves happy, as I focus always on me making
yeah,
myself happy.
yeah,
And so, but that's habits. All those old sayings have become habits of thought and habits of the mind. The
right.
one gender is better, one race is better. I think
Mhm.
it still surprises me that on this day and age on Earth, there are humans who actually think the in white supremacy, and I'm like, how I would almost want to say there's human race. I would like to say there's human race supremacy, but when I see people defining people and victimizing them, then I think I don't know if I see the supremacy there.
Exactly, exactly. So, Janice, is there anything that Spirit wants to say before we need to close for today?
Well, I know they're pleased with how the animals are becoming inclusive, and so they would love humans to be more inclusive. And yes, they do say things are changing. If we look out the window, people are authentically expressing themselves how they want, and and embracing the most embracing what they feel is the most authentic expression of themselves. Though I think we still need a larger, massive movement. But I don't run this earth, and spirit always tells me that. So, and
Yeah.
I don't run the universe, and they always tell me that. And so I cannot have agenda for how others play the game of earth. I can
Hmm.
only have agenda for how I play the game of earth. And so
Hmm.
that's where I pull back to. And how I play the game of earth is be how I want to be and be open to connecting with spirit and then sharing their messages to people. That is the best I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we are so grateful that you all joined us here today for another episode of Practical Balance. And we are here to support you and help you on your journey. And if you need some help, you can reach us at our different platforms that we use. And that information will be listed in the description box below. And if you have a question that you would like us to talk about here on Practical Balance, please email us your question at hello@soululaire.com. And thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have a fabulous week, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, Janice.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye-bye.
week. Bye-bye.